this video, I'll go through some of the information you need in order to visit the Dolomites with your dog. The place is excellent to visit with or without a dog, but if you bring your dog, there is a few things you'll have to stay aware of. I also want to share my top 5 of popular places to visit when you're bringing a dog, both because they're easy to access and doesn't require an extreme fitness from your dog. One of the things you have to have in mind when you're visiting the Dolomites is that it's a mountain area and the weather is changing quickly from time to time. It can get really warm in the summer and very cold in the winter, so I always check the weather before I'm leaving, just to make sure that the weather condition isn't a problem for my dog. I personally prefer to visit in May or September, which is a perfect weather condition for my dog. Italy is very dog friendly in general, but there are certain rules you have to pay attention to in the Dolomites area. Your dog usually have to be kept on a shorter leash, 1.5 meters typically, and then you have to carry a muzzle just in case you need it. I only experienced that the muzzle was needed in gondolas, but you still have to carry it just in case it's needed elsewhere. Of course, you have to pick up after your dog, and you have to have a lot of respect for the grazing animals in the area. In some seasons, you will see a lot of cows and horses and stuff like that, and please don't let your dog near any of those animals. Dogs are not allowed in all lakes in the Dolomites, so please check the rules for this specific lake you want to visit before you take your dog for a swim. And now for my top 5. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I prefer more remote places. That isn't very popular, but in this case, I will go through some of the popular places you're able to bring your dog. My number 5 recommendation is Passo Giau, which is also where this photo is taken. It's a very scenic pass, and the good thing is that you can go for shorter walks or longer hikes, and you can just actually experience the whole area from the car. The road is so beautiful, it almost looks like another planet, so it's definitely worth a visit. Be aware that the pass is sometimes closing due to the weather, but you can check on the official website to see if it's open when you want to go. My next recommendation place as number 4 is Tre Cime, which is probably the most iconic view and one of the most famous hikes in the whole area of the Dolomites. Even though it's very popular, I think it's a must-see. The classic hike around the peaks are about 10 kilometers, and I avoided the crowd by leaving in the morning. Some of the trails are a bit rocky, but it's without a lot of elevation, so it's actually quite easy to hike around the peaks. My recommendation number 3 is Lago Di Braies, which is one of the most incredible lakes I've ever seen in my whole life. I've been there 2 times, one time in the morning and one time in the afternoon, and I definitely recommend the mornings due to the very extraordinary reflections in the water. My recommendation in order to avoid the crowd is to arrive in the morning before the buses arrives and before the boats are opening. The hike around the lake is 3.5 kilometers, and it's very easy and can mainly be done by everyone with legs. Even if the hike itself isn't very long, I could easily spend half a day there. The area is so beautiful, and it's perfect for a lunch stop or a photo stop or whatever you'd like to do. My recommendation placed as number 2 on the list is Cadini Di Misurina, which is a very special hike for me. When I visited, I was completely alone due to quite bad weather, but everything cleared up when we got to the viewpoint, so that was just magical. I don't place this as number 1 because the trails to the viewpoint are quite narrow, and it's an out and back trail, meaning that if you are bringing a dog, you will end up passing a lot of people and you will maybe stand in a line to get to the viewpoint. So dog-wise, it's not the best hike, but it's definitely worth to see the viewpoint. The hike from Auronzo Mountain Hut is about 30 minutes out, 30 minutes back, and it's not difficult at all. It's just that you have to have in mind that it's narrow trails, so if your dog is fine by passing others, I definitely recommend that you're going. Especially if you're visiting Tre Cime, because these 2 places are very close to each other and it's possible to make both hikes in one day. When it comes to hiking Tre Cime or Cadini Di Misurina, you have several options. One time I started from Lago Misurina, which is not really recommended. It's a quite long hike and it's part difficult, so especially not with a dog, I wouldn't recommend doing it. I will recommend that you take the shuttle to Auronzo or that you drive there yourself. There is a toll costing like 40 euros or something to get to the hut, but it's worth it because you can get so much more out of the day. And then we're at my number one recommendation of when you're traveling with your dog in the Dolomites. It's Alpe Di Siusi, and it's a little bit fun that I placed it as number one because I was very close not to visit this place. When I watched some photos and some videos from there, I wasn't really impressed. So I was about to skip it. Also because you needed to travel with a gondola and stuff, so it seemed easier not to. But I did it anyway, and I'm so happy that I did. This place is a little bit different compared to a lot of other places in the Dolomites because it's an alpine meadow, so you've got all of these beautiful peaks popping up. It's possible to go for a short walk or longer hikes or just to hang around where the gondola is ending. It's possible to either hike or grab the cable car from Odyssey, which I preferred since the hike itself should be 3 hours up and 3 hours down. So I wanted to save some time and use the cable car, which was 10 minutes. We were lucky enough to get a cabin on our own, meaning that Kobo didn't need to be muzzled, but otherwise your dog needs to wear a muzzle if other people are in the cabin. I actually thought we would go for like a few hours hike there, but we ended up spending a whole day. So it's really recommended that you give yourself a little bit extra time to visit this place because it's magnificent. And I personally like to give myself a little bit more flexibility when I'm visiting the Dolomites because, as I said earlier, the weather is changing a lot and it's changing quickly. So if I plan to visit a place in the morning, sometimes that's going to be the afternoon instead due to the weather. But that was it for today. If you have any further questions about visiting the Dolomites with your dog, don't hesitate to ask questions in the comment section.